it's important to start by who we are. An awful lot of Americans don't really know who Sky is. Some people think we're Sky Mexico or Sky Brazil. We're not any of those. Sky is a business that has 22 million customers across 5 major European markets. We're a big pay TV company, a big pay TV platform, but importantly, we're also a huge content business, investing about $7.5 billion in original content a year. So we're an unusual combination you don't really see so much in the US. We're a real combination of both a content business and a pay TV platform. We've always believed in embracing innovation. Our business is built on innovation, and that's the reason why we're really keen to engage with the startup community, and particularly the startup community in Los Angeles. We also operate a huge home communications business, and we're always looking for ways of making that business more successful. We started in satellite and broadcasting, but to be honest, we've moved on significantly since then. OTT is now a really important part of our business across digital and mobile. So innovation, the heart of everything we do. We believe in partnering to make that innovation more successful. We've partnered with global technology companies for a long time across the likes of mobile, network operators, software companies, social media companies. But increasingly, we're looking to startups as a way of driving our competitive advantage. We think startups can really help us across a number of new areas, accelerating innovation, creating new products, creating new ways of engaging in our content. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how we've used startups to help make that more successful. I'll also explain a little bit about what we're looking for, but importantly, I wanted to talk a little bit about how a corporate can work in a really positive way with startups. So there's no doubt that in my mind there's been a huge explosion in technology, and it's being driven by some major technology companies that were themselves startups only a few years ago. So what we really want to do is work with that community to help grow and make our business more successful and their business more successful. I'm stating the blindingly obvious when I say that TV is going through a massive change at the moment. And innovation is really accelerating. And with reduced barriers to entry, increasingly it's startups that are really starting to change that business. There's a really strong rationale for us to tap into the startup ecosystem therefore. It can help us accelerate innovation. We're already an innovative organization, but it can really help create a new reference point that enables us to push our business even harder. It can help us identify new revenue growth opportunities. By creating a pipeline of opportunities that we can filter down, and then when we identify startups that are going to be successful for us, really amplifying them and taking them to the mass market. And it can help us achieve cost efficiencies across our entire business. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about what we're looking for in startups, and then if you've got something interesting, you come and tell me about it. We've established a handful of key strategic themes, and the key for me, for a corporate, is those strategic themes that you engage with startups on have to be something that's right at the root of your business. So for us, content and content distribution is really key to us. We're interested in both the process of creating great content, distributing great content, and all the technologies that surround that. So increasingly, OTT is a huge part of our business, and all the technologies that go on to make OTT a success, and the OTT devices are really important to us. Broadband and Wi-Fi. At the same time as being a leading entertainment company, we're a huge home communications company, so we want to help our customers connect with each other more effectively. Digital ad tech. So we're a huge a seller of advertising and also a huge buyer of advertising. We're the leading buyer of advertising in our market. So helping to make better ad tech that makes advertising more valuable and more targeted is really important to us. And finally, in the back office, we want to embrace new technologies that enable us to make our business more cost effective across all areas so that we can put more money back into the things that matter, like products and services. So how do we engage? So we have an office on the West Coast. I run this at the moment. I'm being succeeded by somebody else in this room called John Jelly. That West Coast office is really important to us because this is where the startup ecosystem starts, and particularly in Los Angeles. We work directly with the venture community, and particularly importantly, we work in partnership with our startups to help make our startups, the ones that we've partnered with and invested in, more successful. so that we can tell that story onto the venture network to create a virtuous cycle between ourselves and the startups. And then finally, we have a huge network of our own staff and existing relationships with tech companies that helps us identify other opportunities. So for example, our broadcasting operations team identified Elemental as a new encoding platform for our OTT business. We invested and partnered with that business, which gave them access to our strategic roadmap. That business has gone on to be very successful and is now being acquired by Amazon Web Services. So that's quite a lot about why this is important to us. But why are we important to the startups? What value do we bring to them? At its most basic level, we want to create sustainable value for those startups. We do it by helping them share in our success. But importantly, I think, because we're a UK company and a European-focused company, we often enable those businesses to identify new things that they can then take on into many other markets. And we're really keen to encourage people to grow internationally, way beyond our own business. We bring a scale retail business. We bring a source of premium content across sports, movies, and entertainment. We bring a trusted brand, a potential source of investment, and a reference case in terms of supply agreements. We have a key competency, I think, that a lot of US operators don't have, which is the relationship between being both a content business and a pay TV platform. And as a result, we're really able to innovate on the boundaries of content and platform. Again, we offer a really important bridgehead into the European market. The UK is often the first stepping off point for US companies. And so I think we can really help by helping businesses get into Europe. What's more, when we launch products and services, because we're the number one marketer in our markets, we can really help grow those businesses to scale quickly. So what I'm going to do over the next few slides is outline a few of the kind of examples of how it's worked and what we do to make it a success for both us, ourselves, and the businesses. As I mentioned earlier, we're not a venture fund, nor do we make speculative investments. Our activity in this space is founded on commercial opportunities and working with partners who can deliver material value into our business and where the relationship with us can deliver material value back into their business. So for example, in content, which is a really important area for us as a content business, we're working with Jaunt on virtual reality, we're working with Roku and Elemental on OTT, and we're working with Sharethrough and Beamly on content marketing and content advertising. They're partnerships that deliver innovation right to the heart of our business, and as a result, the partnership with us can deliver real value back into their businesses. And one relationship we're particularly proud of is our relationship with Roku. As you probably know, Roku created their streaming player in 2008. It was the first streaming player that enabled people to stream Netflix directly to their TV. So with Roku's heritage in streaming, we developed a really important partnership with them in 2012. At that time, we wanted to launch our own OTT service, a service called Now TV. And the idea behind Now TV was it would enable people to access the content that we were already buying, sports, movies, and entertainment, in a much more flexible and lower cost way. We'd already launched Now TV on some platforms, but what we really wanted to do was accelerate that. We wanted to find a streaming player that could help us do that and drive the market even harder. Enter Roku. Get rid of some notes. So the way Roku worked, it was a really innovative partnership for them and for us. It was the first time they white-labeled the Roku box into a market. So in our market in the UK, the Roku box isn't called the Roku box, it's called the Now TV box after our service. It was the first time they'd done that, and it enabled us, Sky, to access their low-cost hardware platform and their really market-leading software platform. It dramatically reduced our time to market. It got us out there faster. It enables us to really benefit from the streaming market at a really important time for us. And from Roku's perspective, they were able to reach scale in the UK much faster than if they'd done it on themselves. We were able to pour tens and hundreds of millions of dollars into marketing both Roku and the Now TV box. Since then, we've taken the same model and rolled it into Germany and Italy, and that's going really well. But importantly for the startup and for Roku, they've now taken that model and applied it around the world. So Roku are now doing deals with other major pay TV operators, across many markets to drive their business into new markets faster than they would have otherwise done. Another example. So obviously after that, we saw that OTT was really important to us. And in 2013, we were asking ourselves the question, how do we launch more OTT apps more quickly and more cost effectively? And importantly, we wanted to launch Sky News on Apple TV. And we came across One Mainstream. One Mainstream used sophisticated templating technologies to enable businesses to launch OTT apps much faster, much more quickly, and more cost effectively with very little upfront costs. One Mainstream, for their part, had lots of great Roku people in them, Apple TV people, TiVo people. And so we knew that they had great credentials in the connected TV space. So with the One Mainstream team, we after the first meeting with them, we had Sky News live in the US on Apple TV within 3 weeks, which is massively faster than we could have ever done it ourselves. Hugely successful for us. And as a result, we've gone on to launch many different apps with them, including Sky News on Roku and Xbox. And One Mainstream are now the partner of choice for Apple TV and a number of other global tech platforms. And what I think works for this story in particular was because Sky has relationships with pay TV operators all over the world, we were able to introduce Roku to many other pay TV operators, and now One Mainstream has launched across Europe, Asia, and Australia. The other video trend that really matters to us is short-form content. It's clearly exploding. We've clearly moved on from the likes of Machinima, etc., the big mainstream players like Machinima Maker, Fullscreen, to the more niche players. We saw an opportunity with sports to re-engage a youth audience, and we developed a partnership with Whistle Sports, a hugely successful niche MCN in the sports space, who have about 71 million social media followers. And what we wanted to do was relaunch a soccer-based product to young people. And Whistle, it was kind of perfect timing because Whistle was a big US business, but they really didn't know that much about soccer. So we were able to come together and create a partnership where we provided all the expertise in soccer, they provided all the expertise in social media and reaching young people. And as a result, we've launched a new YouTube service called Soccer AM with them. So again, a real partnership between ourselves and the startup. And then finally, share through. Advertising for us is kind of also very important. We're primarily a subscription business, but advertising is still a huge part of our business. And we also are a huge spender on advertising, so we really want to embrace new advertising formats. And share through is all about native advertising, so putting relevant, targeted advert with real content in them that work neatly alongside our content. And we've now launched share-through advertising within our sell side, and we're using it within our buy side. And importantly for share-through, they were at the point where they wanted to expand into the UK and into Europe. And so we provide the ideal case study for them to help. We provided the ideal case study to help them grow directly into that market. And they've now already expanded across Europe. So again, a real example of how you can work in collaboration with a startup to make both them and you more successful. So I've cantered through that at kind of twice the pace that I was going to, but hopefully it gave you a kind of flavour. That means that you can get on with the rest of your drinks, etc. But for me, look, we embrace innovation. We believe in disruption. We believe in this. And we believe that a corporate can be a really positive thing in the startup world and can be a really positive thing for the venture community. But it's founded on a few key things. You need to really want the startup thing to work. It's got to be founded on a belief in innovation right from the exec. Our CEO was here visiting a whole load of startups just yesterday. And that's got to go through all the way through the business. You've got to have a set of business owners and stakeholders in the business who are willing to lean in and break down corporate roadblocks and really make those startups a success and really buy into those startups being a success. You've got to have a continuous focus on shared benefit. This isn't a one-way flow. It needs to be a two-way flow. And it needs to be a true partnership with the investment community. So with that, that's pretty much the end of the slides, done in whistle-stop time, as per request. I wanted to thank you for having me along today and sharing a little bit about the Sky story. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? I'm happy.
Guess I'll sit back down. Is this on? So in venture, we always like to, obviously work with large companies that are doing co-investments, but we also like to have acquisitions as well.
Yep.
So where do you guys draw that line? What makes an acquisition target versus an investment target?
For us, the focus is the partnership first. Sometimes that results in an investment, but to be honest, that's quite secondary. The acquisition route for us as a European operator doesn't really make sense, and actually we're quite happy for the businesses to be acquired in the US. Most of the startups we work with, by far the majority of their business is going to be outside of our markets. So what we like to do is try and work with them to help them conquer our markets, and then they can go and be successful with somebody else in other markets, and they can get acquired by much bigger companies than our own. We would never get in the way of a startup being acquired by another big business. We want them to be successful in their local markets.
Okay. And then how often do conflicts arise, with your competitors and startups you may be investing in?
So One Mainstream is a business that I've been working with for the last 2 years. When I first arrived, because I've been in the TV industry for years, and I said to my boss, I can introduce them to loads of people, including all of our competitors. And she was like, go ahead, do it, straight away. The most important thing is that we deliver value back into this community, because if we can do that, then more startups will come our way. If we go, actually, no, you can't talk to that person over there or that person over there, because we don't quite like that, we'll never be a part of this community.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Hi, thanks for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it. Question, because not all partners are created equal. So what advice can you give to a startup looking to do a strategic? How can they identify a good strategic that will work for them, and when a strategic is going sideways?
It depends what you're trying to get out of the strategic. If you just want money, then go for the ones that are, run corporate venture funds. If you're looking for somebody who's trying to deliver, you're looking for a business partner, then if it's the pure BD team or the pure finance team who are talking to you, then you're talking to the wrong person, because you need the business owner who's directly responsible for the deliverable that you want them to engage in to be bought into the thing you're doing. And if they're not, then they're not really engaged. And I think that's the critical thing. Sometimes you see this kind of separate this. You get people who are put out here as kind of business people to try and deliver strategic rationale, but they get seduced by the whole investment thing. And if they're being seduced by that, they start focusing on the wrong things, the things that are going to deliver huge exits. And that this isn't about huge exits for us. This is about finding business value, and you need to find the strategics that are really focused on delivering business value. Is that a right answer? Yeah. Looks like all. Thank you so much for having me along.